What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So, a few people asked me, they said, Blue, why you think people dislike a first ballot Hall of Famer, a 3-division champion, former undisputed lightweight, former WBC junior welterweight, and reigning WBO welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is 33 wins, no loss, no draw, 15 wins by way of knockout, at just 27 years of age? Why does people hate Devin the Dream Haney? New name, Debo Dev. Why do people dislike Devin Haney? And I'm going to tell you why. Why is the premier boxing champions boxing out? Right? They are, I'm going to tell the truth, they are helping the WBA welterweight champion, Rolando Rolly Romero, maneuver around Devin Haney. Why don't they, better known as the PBC, why don't they want this fight? Because Devin Haney reset the market. That's why. He reset the market for all these young fighters, right? Devin Haney, what he is with his actions, he's a whistleblower. What Devin Haney does is he shows that and exposes that it's all lies in the sport of boxing, that you can actually do what you want. With his father, trainer, and manager, Bill Haney, who is the CEO of DHP, Devin Haney Promotions. They reset the market. They doing what they want. And they still being successful. They don't need the machine. They don't need, see, they using the system. They not letting the system use them. And they still successful. They are resetting the market. Devin Haney is fighting, still fighting who he wants, when he wants. He's forcing them to have to fight him or look absolutely silly to the public. Like Rolly Romero's looking. Rolando Rolly Romero looks absolutely like a buffoon. No disrespect. I gotta call a spade a spade. He looks like a buffoon. Rolando Rolly Romero looks absolutely silly. He cannot come up with a rhyme or reason as to why he's not fighting Devin Haney. He's not giving you no explanations. He's coming up with silly stuff, right? Cartoon stuff. He's talking about, if I fight Devin and knock him out, they're going to sue me for 5 years. That's just ignorant in itself. Who gets sued for 5 years? Either he's going to sue you or he's not. Why would you put a time frame on it? He going to sue me for 5 years. Like every year, Devin Haney going to sue him. He sued Ryan Garcia for 2 years. No, he didn't. They didn't even fight 2 years ago. So how could he sue him for 2 years? He dropped the case as soon as Ryan Garcia agreed to fight him in a rematch after the debacle. Right? What Devin Haney does and Bill Haney does, expose the system. That's what they don't like. He's showing you, and the young fighters coming up behind him, you don't need the system. You just need to back up what you say you are when you step in the ring. See, he removes the safety net. He don't need the safety net that everybody else needs because they're confident in themselves. Bill is confident in his business, and Devin is confident in his skill set. And roles reverse as well, right? Because Bill is also confident in Devin's skill set, and Devin is confident in Bill's business, right? So they make the perfect tantrum, right? They know how to get it done, and they still trying to fight the best, right? Everybody wanted Bill and Devin. They celebrated, the whole boxing world celebrated when that situation happened with Ryan Garcia, only to find out he cheated, right? And they got pissed. Oh man, he exposed the system. So they exposed the system, right? Now, guess what? I asked my brother Drew Titan the Drew to ask this question to Eddie Hearn, but I'm just going to ask it here. I don't know if he asked it. I didn't see it. Eddie Hearn, who worked with Devin Haney, and Devin Haney was the greatest thing since sliced bread when Devin was working with Eddie. Now that Devin decided, okay, time's up with Eddie, let me go ahead with Bob so I can accomplish what I need to accomplish, right? So he's using the system, right? I'm going to need you to get this belt. I'm going to need you to get this. I'm going to need you, right? And that's what they don't like. He's resetting the market, and he's demonstrating to the fighters behind him, and that's dangerous. That's dangerous to the system, to the masses, to the powers that be. That's dangerous to them. They don't like it. They fear it. Because if he does it, imagine if this fighter starts doing it, and that fighter, and Abdullah Mason starts doing it, and Kamel Moulton starts doing it, and Floyd Schofield starts doing it, and this fighter start doing, that fighter start doing it. You show you don't need the quote unquote powers to be, as long as you back it up in the ring, and you can make your money, right? So that's what Devin is showing. That's what they don't like. So the premier boxing champions can control somebody like Rolly Romero. Listen to his conversation. No disrespect, I'm just keeping it 100. Listen to his conversation, right? Rolly Romero he's educated, don't get me wrong, but just listen to his conversation, right? So he's a puppet. So the PBC don't want, so that's what Devin is exposing. You don't need all of these people. So the PBC, if Devin beats Rolly Romero, what do they have? What do they have? They don't have Canelo. So Rolly would much rather be used as a pawn to hopefully get a bag instead of getting a guaranteed bag. You understand? Devin has reset. He resets the market. If he gets that belt from Rolly, which I'm pretty sure 90% of the boxing world believes he will get it, as well as Rolly. Rolly also believes that Devin is going to get that belt as well, right? Rolly believes that as well. That's why he's not interested, and he just says silly stuff like, "Oh, yeah, I just don't want to fight. I'm just not interested." All that talking he did. See, he do all that talking how Devin is soft, Devin can't punch, Devin is a B, Devin sued this person. I mean, Devin Haney is exposing the business of the sport of boxing and the fighters. Everybody. It's the same thing with Terrence Bud Crawford. This is why they don't like Terrence Crawford. Because Terrence Crawford showed you, you don't need the system. As a matter of fact, the system is getting over on you. That's what it showed. And that's what they don't want. They don't like. Right? That's what Devin Haney did. And that's what he's doing. He's exposing the business of the sport of boxing. He resets the market. That's why people don't like him. And he's doing it with his father, who people like to highlight his past. They don't want to see somebody that came from the streets, that was dibbling and dabbing in the streets, that went to prison, come out and be able to control the system cleanly. Nah. They don't want to see that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want nobody else to be influenced by that. That's what they don't want. So Rolly is allowing himself to be puppet mastered. And the PBCs, hey, we're going to give you Manny Pacquiao. Right? We just waiting to see if Floyd Mayweather takes the rematch with Manny Pacquiao. If he don't, we going to give it to you. So Rolly sounds absolutely silly every time they put a camera in his face, right? To try to justify not fighting Devin Haney in the unification. He's talking about Devin Haney is ducking Ryan. How is he ducking Ryan when Devin Haney is asking Rolly to fight on the same card as Ryan, who already has a fight scheduled with Mario Barrios. It sounds ridiculous. Teofimo Lopez talking about, yeah, now that him and Shakur is fighting, he beat Shakur Stevenson. Guess what? Now that makes the fight with him and Devin bigger. Y'all could have fought for undisputed. No, they afraid of Devin Haney and Bill Haney. They threaten the system. That's what they do. They threaten the system. At 27, look how accomplished he is at 27. See, it was all glitz and glam and everybody loved it when it was Canelo. Oh, look how young he is. And look what he's achieving as he's so young. You don't hear that from Devin Haney, though. You don't hear them praising Devin Haney being able to do all the things he's done. All they talk about is trying to deflect. Oh, well, he really lost to Lomachenko. Right? Tio on the Breakfast Club talking about it's a discrimination against him being undisputed. No, it's not. You ain't fight Devin Haney. The sanction body, the WBC, decided to create a belt, a misfit belt, to allow Canelo. This belt, let's be real, was created for Canelo Alvarez, and Canelo Alvarez didn't want no parts of it. He has never acknowledged it and never been a franchise champion. Period. They created a franchise champion so they could maneuver around upsetting Canelo Alvarez. Because remember, that whole situation with Gennady Golovkin and Canelo, he wasn't happy with that. Canelo was not happy with that. Remember, he said he was done with the WBC. He stated he want no more parts with the WBC. And he's a massive moneymaker. And to be able to justify for Canelo, they created a franchise belt. Like a king me belt. You know, you play checkers, king me, now you can move any way you want on the board once you kinged. Right? That's what they did with Canelo Alvarez. So he didn't have no mandatories. He didn't get stripped. But he never acknowledged it. But Lomachenko did. And they elevated Devin Haney so Lomachenko didn't have to fight Devin Haney as his mandatory. And then Lomachenko fought Teofimo Lopez. He had more than enough time to defend his belt against Devin Haney and then still fight Teofimo Lopez, and he chose not to. When Teofimo Lopez beat Richard Comey for the belt, he could have fought Devin Haney in that time frame and then still fought Teofimo Lopez. He chose not to. He chose not to. And they elevated him to franchise champion. And therefore, once they elevated him to franchise champion, they elevated Devin Haney to the super champion. So when people's running around acting like they don't understand why Teofimo Lopez wasn't undisputed, because George Kambosos wasn't undisputed. When he beat Teo, you know why? Because Teo was never undisputed. That's why. That's exactly why. Period. So you heard Lomachenko. He said, Teo's not undisputed because I let my belt go. He said it himself. So therefore, you have it. That's why Devin Haney resets the market. Period. Now he can ready to fight Louis Crockett. You heard? Again, I was going to tell you about Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn now talking about, oh yeah, well, Louis Crockett. I said I was going to ask Drew. I told Drew Titan to ask this question to Eddie Hearn. Now I'm just going to ask it for y'all. So if Devin Haney is so terrible, if Devin Haney and Bill Haney decide to go to Eddie Hearn and say, we want to work with you again and sign back the Matchroom, Eddie Hearn going to say no? You a terrible fighter? You boring? I guarantee you he signed him quickly and then start talking about, yeah, well, Devin is chasing greatness. I guarantee you his tune completely changes. Now Devin is looking to fight Louis Crockett, Eddie Hearn's fighter. You see how Eddie Hearn is sweating bullets? Because he know what it is. Period. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Devin Haney get that belt from Louis Crockett. They don't want that. I guarantee you they conspiring behind the scenes like, Eddie, don't make that fight. They got a date in February with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. Eddie Hearn talking about, well, if you come to Belfast, we'll make the fight. Why do you got to come to Belfast when there's already a card? Shouldn't Louis Crockett be looking to expand his brand in the United States and make his name bigger, and the biggest opportunity in his career in the unification on Turkey Al Sheikh's another Ring magazine card in a unification bout? More so than fighting Devin Haney. Why wouldn't you fight Devin Haney on the ring card for more money with Turkey Al Sheikh promoting it rather than fight on the matchroom card solely in Belfast? Why would you do that? You ain't gonna get the money nor the attention to do that. You know why? Because if Turkey Al Sheikh has anything to do with it, guess what happens? Guess what happens? Eddie Hearn don't collect all the money he's looking to collect off of Devin Haney. Man, this is nasty work, man. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. It's your boy Blue signing off. I'm gone. Peace.